Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader. Welcome back to the Fierce Factor podcast. It's your leadership coach, Kaylee here, and you are tuning in to episode number 285. Today, we're going to address the big elephant in the room, the world right now that seems to be bringing out the very worst in people, and the haunting question of how to navigate a state of lingering uncertainty. Over the past several weeks, my personal experience has been a state of general uneasiness. People are not sure what to think about humanity, where to stand politically, how to make bold moves in a shifting economy, and what message to send to clients who are struggling with all of this. The reality is there are a lot of people who are scared for many reasons, and there are many reasons to be scared, and those are all valid. And as business owners, there's no way of escaping this critical question: how will all of this impact my business? And the unsexy truth is, no one knows. But if there's something I do know, burying ourselves in what ifs is most certainly not going to allow us to build the future from a place of expansion and opportunity. I thought today I would share 5 strategies that I am leading into to lead KLC through these times of pretty intense external friction. First and foremost, strategy number 1 is to think and lead bigger. Now is the time I'm thinking about my life and the future in a way that's really bigger than I ever have. Because just as likely as it is that things may not be as great as they were over the past few years, and we're trending into a new version of the economy and industry, there's an equal or maybe even greater amount of possibility that this could be the best time that ever existed. I can't help but look back just to 2020, impending doom, uncertainty that I had never faced before. And amidst all the chaos, birthed the most beautiful blessing I could have ever imagined, the Pop Leadership Academy. If it wasn't for the constraints and adversities of the shutdowns, I would not have realized the vision for what has evolved to be the most profound business growth incubator for female entrepreneurs in aesthetics and wellness, and now expanding beyond. If I had shut down and waited it out, I would have missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime. And you and I wouldn't be here today to have this conversation on the Fierce Factor podcast. So I can't help but think, what if this is your time? What if you are being called to something greater? What if that little idea you have, or that itch deep down inside, that vision that maybe you had for yourself or for your business or your family, it's time to go execute on that? We don't know. And unless you really set that impossible goal for yourself and decide to think and act bigger than you have, you really won't ever know. You can't determine. You have no idea. It could go one way or the other. And when times are uncertain like this, we have to get back to our purpose and think about the bigger picture, the potential for what's possible, the impact you could possibly make, the people you could serve, the dream that God planted that you could realize. Use that to fuel you. Why do you do what you do every day? What is the difference that you're here to make? Because you're here for a reason. Now is the time to anchor to that. Strategy number 2 is to upgrade your inner circle. I was introduced to a woman a few weeks ago. We had a call to connect. And as soon as I asked her how she was doing, before she could even get a word out of her mouth, she broke down in tears. She said, "I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world. I'm taking care of my family, my aging parents, my team, my patients. I feel like the responsibility never ends. I barely have anything left for myself. When I share with my friends, well, they can't quite relate. My siblings dismiss me because I'm living a blessed life, as they would say. What do I have to complain about?" So often it's women like her, and maybe you too, who just can't ever let your guard down because you're the one holding it all together for the people around you. And it's this exact reason that I found so many high growth founders to be such lone wolves. Opening up to share these vulnerabilities would put their entire ecosystem out of equilibrium. And more often than not, they are met with resistance rather than understanding because they're operating at such a high level that most people around them couldn't possibly understand the demands, the struggle, the intensity of responsibility. And quite frankly, they're relying on them. And the truth is, there are very few people who can hold space to celebrate your success without that triggering something inside of them, maybe an insecurity that they aren't living up to their fullest potential. I share this truth often that I remind myself that people will cheer for you until you outgrow their expectations of you. Once you cross that threshold, the implicit ceiling that they drew for you, you become more of a threat than an inspiration. And this is hard. This isn't fair or kind or comfortable, but this is the reality for high achieving women. That's exactly why I've designed the programs the way that they're built at KLC. So women like us can step into a space where we have the safety to dream big and also be stretched, to be in a space where ambitions and vulnerabilities are realized and understood. And this, by the way, has no relevance to how big your business is or isn't. It's about your leadership and your conviction to step into your calling. If you want to move fast, you have to have people around you who will align with your growth conversation. That's how you move forward the fastest. You need to be in a room that not only sees you, but also exposes your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses so that you can find your opportunity for growth. So now's the time to decide, really take an introspective look in your business to determine if you have those people around you and inside of your team or not. And if you do, that's great. Take care of them, link arms with them, and take your business to the next level. And if you don't, or if you're not sure, if you have a team that you're not feeling are quite equipped to help you accomplish the goals you've set out for your business or for the bigger vision you're setting for yourself, then now is an opportune time, quite frankly, to minimize and streamline that staff and those team members. Strategy number 3 is just straight up discipline. Now's the time to capitalize on the low-hanging fruit and make decisions for sustainable growth, not just quick wins. It's time to become discerning about your business model, the products and services that drive the most impact, and to lean into the clients who are vested in you. Imagine you have 1,000 patients in your database. Those patients bring in $1 million in revenue per year. Well, think about the 80-20 principle or the law of unequal distribution, which would assume that only 200 of those 1,000 will net 800K of that million. Think about that. If you're busy frittering with the wrong 600 patients, you're missing a huge opportunity here. Think about the most financially stable people you know. Are they worried about an economic contraction? No, they aren't. They're ready to capitalize on opportunity. Your patients who are investing tens of thousands with you per month or per quarter will continue to do so. One way to ensure this is to develop a long-term care plan that creates a multiplier effect. For example, perhaps your most valuable patients are investing in facial balancing and maintenance programs like peels or energy-based device treatments or skincare. Instead of trying to sell more of these high-margin services to everyone with a pulse, think about your most lucrative consumer and double down on their purchasing power. Get them on long-term care plans that bring additional value, maybe HRT or peptides, nutraceuticals, or like I discussed with you in last week's episode, a more comprehensive retail strategy. Be discipline leader. Your top 20% don't need coupons. They need consistency. If you want loyalty without eroding your margin, you have to tighten the retail layer of your plans. That's where trust compounds between visits. And look, I know you're thinking, Kaylee, I don't have time to overhaul a retail strategy right now, or maybe your team's told you that they're uncomfortable making product recommendations because they don't want to feel like salespeople. I get it. But here's what that hesitation is costing you. Practices with a systematic retail approach are adding 25K to 50K in monthly revenue. That's another 300 to 600K annually without adding more treatment hours or straight up just time invested. So if you want to take this topic a little deeper, you can download for a limited time. I'm offering for free my Retail Sales Playbook for aesthetic and wellness practices. It's a 24-page blueprint of the exact frameworks, conversation starters, SMS templates, and tracking tools, all the things, how to set up your product display, different ideas about product bundling, role playing, all of the things that you need to make your retail feel like a really powerful patient care system instead of just sales. And I'll link that up in the show notes for you. What happens too often is that we clinch up and start discounting as a way to make our services more affordable to everyone. The problem with this strategy is when our economy is contracting, you will be the one taking the hit on profit margins, and you will train or adjust the appetite of your customer to expect a discount. So if you do plan a discount, you want to begin with a gentle price increase and then allow for some private sales or VIP offers to the right clients. So you're kind of adjusting up and then coming back down. Remember, it's all about working smarter, not harder, and investing back into the clients who will continue to support you at the highest value in any economy. Strategy number 4 is to sharpen your mind. This is where coaching is gold, to help you build your resilience and strengthen your ability to reframe adversity into opportunities. The top leaders in the world don't react impulsively to circumstances. They actually pause and take intentional action. After coaching over 600 female entrepreneurs past their next $1 million milestone, I have absolutely learned that the way someone interprets a situation will in fact determine the way that they respond to it. Most people believe that stress and pressure and challenges are things to avoid. In fact, most people believe that the obstacle in front of them is the thing that is preventing them from accomplishing their goals. But what if the obstacle is actually the opportunity? What if the obstacle isn't blocking your path? It is the path. Remember when God wanted to make David king, he didn't send him a crown, he sent him Goliath. The most successful leaders I work with don't experience less stress, they respond to it differently. So how about, what if you were to reframe the thought? This is hard to, I am built for this. The challenge is that most of the world around you will try to suck you back into this victim thinking. The decision you need to make to put yourself in the best position in life is more than likely going to be different than everyone else. You will experience judgment. You will lose support. You will disappoint people. Think of the classic analogy of the crabs in a bucket. When one crab tries to climb out, the others try to pull it back down. Understand that the goals that you set for yourself, my advice is to really lean into the goals that you set for yourself and move away from needing to get validation from the outside world to accomplish those, because it just could be different for everybody. I have great friends who just want to be the best mom they can be, and friends that are running multi-million-dollar empires. And that's okay. Everybody has their own version of success. So decide what's yours. I had a conversation today with someone who said, once I started being authentic and just doing what really felt like I loved and not worrying what other people thought about me or about being embarrassed, I suddenly started to light up and started loving life, and everything changed for me. And I really want that for everybody. I want that for all of you. Most people lack the resilience to play the long game in their business and life. We're looking too often for instant gratification. And the reality is, if you want success, you're going to have to work at it every day. And if you want a different result, setting out to achieve that different result is going to require you to show up differently and create different habits and struggle a little bit. It's like learning a new skill. So it will be uncomfortable. And looking at what other people are doing on Instagram is not going to get you there. What's going to get you there is putting a real plan in place and then being patient and persistent and diligent enough to put the work in. So as you're thinking bigger, think about finding accountability. I don't know about you, but if I don't work out with my trainer, my workout's never as intense. And I'm the one who has to do the workout. I'm doing the work. I'm the one that has to do the push-ups and the squats and all that fun stuff. He can just tell me what to do. But if I didn't have him, the reality is I wouldn't do it, or at least certainly not at the level I know that would get me to my goal. And if you're a CEO and running a business, if you're a young entrepreneur looking to grow, to really build something meaningful for yourself, you've got to find accountability. Find somebody that's going to help you stay on track towards your goal. We're human beings, right? And when push comes to shove, we're faced with a difficult decision. We're instantly going to be tempted to fall back into old habits or into what's comfortable. And so if you really want to make progress, find somebody to help push you and guide you along. And then finally, number 5 is just to have faith and grace. Maybe it's spiritual faith. Maybe it's just trusting yourself and having such unrelenting belief in yourself that you're going to get to your goal, that you'll find a way. And no matter what, if you have to crawl on your hands and knees to get there, you'll do it. You'll get there. But that has to come from the inside. That has to come from you being okay with playing the long game, with knowing your purpose and letting go of the need for instant gratification. So if you're feeling uncertain, you're not alone. Let me remind you of that. Accepting the feeling of being out of control is just something I know I've had to work on every day. Being okay with that, with relenting, with just letting go sometimes and really realizing that there just never really is certainty. There never will be. Listen, leader, I don't want this moment to pass by without you really thinking about what this moment is calling you to do. How will you take action in a new way? Don't let a single stroke of clarity pass you by because they're so rare and precious. How many times do you have that invitation to expand and then rather than make the decision to commit to a new reality, you end up back in your old habits? If you want to rise above the chaos, you have to allow yourself to break the chains, eradicate the limiting beliefs, and release the 80% that is holding you back from accessing your highest potential as a leader. You have all the resources right here at your fingertips. And I'm here to help you if you're brave enough to let me. Okay, Goddess, chat with you, same place, same time, next week.
Listen, leader, if you're vibing with me here, hang tight because I have a brand new resource for you. You are a successful, confident, powerful woman who just isn't into being average. No, you have a calling, and part of that calling is requiring you to level up. And I know that if you're working across the next $1 million milestone in your business, you need to be in the right circles. And perhaps that's why you found us. I'd love to invite you to join The Blueprint, a weekly resource for inspired, provocative thinkers who are taking this conversation to the next level. Get access to free business tools, podcast supplements, guideposts, and direct communication with me and my expert team. And of course, a masterfully curated circle of women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetics and wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to klcconsultants.com/blueprint. It's time to elevate. See you there, Goddess.